Okay, we're going to go around the room and we're going to capture one deliverable. By the way, everything is being recorded here for future use and those kind of things. So Tom is going to write things down. So we will start. You want to start?
So we spoke about a lot of different things, but the take home that we're going to give to the room is the idea of intrinsic leadership. And you can lead people outside of you organizationally, but how do you hold yourself accountable to serving yourself with the same characteristics of servant leadership in your day-to-day actions as you do your external community?
Thank you. Great.
We talked a lot about the idea of empathy and expectations. And we thought it was interesting that we all come from different industries and different careers, and it still resonated with us, that empathy and expectations. And we talked a little bit about us setting good expectations, but also are we providing those to our employer as well? Kind of a round table looking inward with that self-awareness.
Good. Thank you very much.
We also talked about empathy and the idea of both and. How do we hold people accountable and support them to reach the mark that we've set for them, or that the company has set for them. So yeah, I think that's our takeaway. It was really good.
We spent quite a bit of time talking about Liz's concept of work-life blend, how envious we are of whatever that truly means. But the conversation really went to, we come from the nonprofit world, and how what that balance or blend looks like for people who just can't work remotely and have that flexibility versus people who can, and what kind of culture that creates within an organization.
We actually talked about all of the leaders, and one thing that we all together came up with is important to build relationships through trust, respect, and the most important, humbleness. And we just believe that they all did that as well.
The power of and how that word really opens up passageways during conversations and other experiences for feedback, and we really just resonated with that theme.
So listening to understand, not to respond, to respect others' beliefs, to be seen and heard and hear from their cultural perspective as well, and then consideration for the whole person. Not just the job that they do, but one of the other last things that we talked about was about bringing the ideas and the tenets of servant leadership to the table and making sure we talk about it in that realm, in that servant leadership focus.
Great.
Everyone's stories matter, and knowing each other's stories help us with perspective and empathy. It also empowers you both to be in relationship when you have that connection of knowing their story.
In our table, we had a very interesting conversation. First, we talked about alignment, which was alignment with that work-life blend. There's a totally different concept, but then we also kind of focused on what does a leader look like when you provide support. And so the conversation round around, when you provide a support, you are in one of the strongest leadership available, because without your support, people wouldn't be able to function. So it was very interesting. Thank you, all speakers.
I hate to sound like a broken wheel here, but we were concentrating and with the and statement as well. It all has to go together to work properly, and it's not just at work either. One of our colleagues left, but she said to really get into the habit, you practice it throughout your life. Not just at work. And I think that's a vital statement.
Great, thank you.
Empathy, thank you. So the and the importance of that. That's what we spoke on.
Thank you.
So we started, one person had to leave before we started, but he said he wanted to talk about what happens, what do you do when stuff goes sideways? And we turned that into listening and many of the other things that we talked about. But we settled on one concept that hasn't been brought up, I don't think, and that is we are all leaders all the time. And some of us in here know where that quote comes from, but it's an important concept.
Great, thank you.
We built off of the and as well, but we talked about really understanding the difference between empathy and sympathy. Because I think if you get into, I think someone brought it up where What do you do with someone who keeps coming back at you? You don't give me enough training, you don't give me enough of this and that. We all love people, we're caring, but sometimes you fall into the trap of being sympathetic. Oh, that poor person. Empathy, you can have clear expectations, you can be empathetic and understand their situation, their feelings, and we have work to do, and here's the expectation how we can get you there. So, good.
Everyone stole our topic ideas.
Thank you. What'd you say? Oh.
But we talked about our different experiences with yearly reviews and how do we make equity work within our teams, and definitely talked about work-life blend as well.
So we talked about a lot of stuff as well at this table. We sort of finished with not really, like, making sure that we're aware that we don't know everybody's stories, we don't know where they're coming from, what kind of day they're having. In my profession specifically, there's a lot of mental health I'll say issues out there that we need to recognize and give folks space for to manage. So if we have somebody that's just having a moment, needs to talk, needs to vent, needs to do whatever, that's the support that we can give to them so that they can continue on to do the roles and meet the expectations that we've set for them. But just, again, listening, the and concept as well continues to come up. So that's a very, very great way to kind of phrase that so you can put a principle in words. So
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Give yourselves a hand.
Pay attention to intrinsic leadership. Pay attention to the inward journey. Pay attention to empathy and expectations. Clear expectations lead to clarity. Clarity is kindness. Empathy includes both and. It's inclusive. Work-life blend, and what does blend look like? How do we blend that in our organizations and make it a cultural reality? Build relationships through respect, trust, and most importantly, humility. The power of and, which is inclusive. Listen to understand other beliefs. Understand that people come to work each and every day and bring their whole selves. To maintain this focus, you need servant leadership conversations on a regular basis. Everyone's stories matter. Alignment. What support does a leader need in order to be successful? How does a leader ask for that kind of support? And it means about working together, but it has to be practiced throughout a lifetime in each and every encounter that we have each and every day. Accountability means how is it that I hold myself accountable and responsible for the growth and development of others. When stuff goes sideways, we recognize that we are all leaders all the time. We are not victims. The difference between empathy and sympathy, and may I add, the difference between empathy, sympathy, and compassion. Experience of the year-end review. How can we get better at assessing and giving people feedback? Be sensitive and compassionate and empathetic to the burden that other people carry. Understand that the principle of servant leadership is service in action.